All right, everybody. Thank you all for being here tonight. I'm Mrs. Paulson, and Mr. Simmons is here tonight as well. And we are going to be sharing some information with you tonight about the Running Start program, and also next steps that you and your student need to take at the college over the next couple of months to get prepared and signed up. So take it away, Mr. Simmons.
Okay, so the Running Start basics. What the Running Start program is, as you may have heard, is it's a dual credit program for high schools, juniors and seniors. So that means you can earn high school credit and earn college credit at the same time. It's a year-long program. It will start in the fall of your junior or senior year, and then it will work through those 3 quarters. When fall, winter, and spring are going to be funded tuition free because you're still in high school. And yeah, if they choose to take a summer quarter, you'd have to pay for it. So that's why as fall, winter, and spring quarters are covered in this program. A quarter lasts 11 weeks. And so what that means is that you can take 15 credits per quarter. So 15 credits is a full-time load. And then so that means like you take 3 5-credit classes traditionally. So what that means is in 11 weeks, you'll take in 3 classes, and so you'll be able to earn 3 high school credits in 11 weeks instead of 3 high school credits in a traditional full semester while you're at summer high school. There you go.
Okay, so whether you're entering into Running Start as a junior or a senior, there's a couple of things that you need to know. First of all, as a current 10th grader who will be a junior next year, you need to be on track with your graduation requirements and credits at the end of 10th grade year. For 11th graders, same thing. You need to be on track with all graduation requirements and credits through your 11th grade year. Your GPA needs to be a 2.0 or higher. And we also look at strong attendance patterns at the high school, because in college, attendance is not tracked like it is here at high school, although it is a large percentage of your grade for participation in a college level class. It isn't tracked and reported to parents like it is at high school. So we look for those patterns because we've seen that they transition over to the college if a student is a good attender or not. You also need to place into college level classes. So you need to place into college level English, English 101, and college level math. Right after you apply at the college, you can take the placement tests. Every student needs to take these placement tests. The only exception is if you have not completed Algebra 2, and you're going to be taking it with us next year. Okay. So Algebra 2 is a prerequisite for college level math. So students do need to take it with us if they haven't passed it already. And we will work with you on all of those details when we meet to plan out your classes and credits.
Okay. So the benefits of Running Start are several. Obviously, you earn both college and credit while you're at the college, so potentially getting in AA and your high school diploma at the same time. You get to experience the college environment, you get to walk around larger campus, and you're very self-driven and kind of independent the way that you're going about your classes and choosing your classes when you take them. There's a lot of scheduling options, a lot of variety of classes. And ways that you can get those certain credits. Like if a U.S. history class, like one example is a U.S. history class here at Sumner High School, you have the general U.S. history class. At college, you may have 2, 3, 4 classes that cover a certain portion of the U.S. history that will count for a U.S. history credit. So it's flexible that way. Classes are offered at different times and are offered during even different days. So you have options to, build your schedule kind of around that. You two are participate in college activities like clubs or organizations that are going on at the school. Not athletics though. that you're still a high school student in that aspect. And it's a diverse environment. You're talking with different people from all different walks of life. Your professors are, different than your high school teachers. It's just a different experience altogether, and that is some of the benefits.
So being a college student means that classes move at a much faster pace. Mr. Simmons touched on this a little earlier. You're getting done an equivalent of a full year of a high school credit in 11 weeks. So there's much more condensed work in a college level class. The grades that you earn appear on your permanent college transcript, and they also come into your high school transcript. I said this already, but attendance is enforced, but it's not required. So we really do need students who are going into this awesome program to be to take their education seriously and attend school. The colleges have a different calendar altogether than we do, and a different holiday schedule. So as a family, you'll want to pay attention to this. The colleges don't start towards the end of September. By then, we've almost been in school for almost a month. They have a much longer winter break than we do. Their spring break's typically different, and their days off are different than the high school too. So for those of you who might be taking a class at Sumner and then it's classes at the college, you really need to watch both calendars to know where you need to be and when. The college campus is a totally different learning environment. I've noticed in the past that the typical Running Start student is ready to move on from high school in many ways. And a lot of that is their maturity level, and they're ready for just a different social scene. They're ready for more independence and to kind of move on from the high school scene. So that's important to know, as it is a mature learning environment. Communication between the college and the family is very restricted. And that's kind of a hard transition, parents, from being able to access everything about your student on Family Access with us, their grades, their attendance, emailing teachers. You need to put on file, with the college, a FERPA form. And this allows you to at least be able to communicate a little bit with the Running Start office and pay your child's tuition if needed, attend meetings with them, things like that. But you will not have access to their teachers or their grades or their attendance. So that's important to know. And also communication with the high school staff is more limited because you're not in the building every day. We do see our Running Start students 3 times a year for their registration appointments. We see them and prepare them for their college registration each quarter. But they're not in our building every day, to meet with us or hear information. Your academic program, and I said this, your social aspects are now at the college, not at Sumner High School. And so that can be a little bit of a hard transition for students to kind of feel separated from their home high school. But we just recommend that you're checking the website, you're checking your email, you're still staying involved in sports or activities that you would normally, but that you're equally getting involved at the college with their different clubs and activities and advisors there as well. A lot of our Running Start students, they get together in little study groups and study together to kind of still have that connection with each other. And so that's a really healthy thing to do as well.
Okay, program costs. Now, it's important to note that when you go to college for free, it's not 100% free. Your tuition is paid, so the cost of tuition, that would be your bottom line ticket, right? That's the big cost money. Cost indicator is tuition, right? And so that is paid for. The rest, though, is not. So general fees that vary across campuses. There's the vote fee, which is a student-led vote fee for every student that goes to a college, and then there's your facilities fee if you take a class that uses certain facilities that have a fee for that. Then there's your registration fee that everybody needs to pay to take those classes and to get like their username. And then if you do testing fees, you have testing fees, and then also parking if you want a spot to park at the school. Those are all not talked about and not really a thing that is covered that some families don't understand or plan for. So it's important to kind of keep that in the back of your mind. Obviously, there's books that are involved. We put the number at $250, like a quarter for a book. It will be the high end, but overall, you're going to spend some money on some books, depending if you're getting them used or new. There's different options, but that's still a cost, right? We have ways to help in certain situations for students that need financial assistance, and we can talk about that on an individual basis. But all in all, tuition is free, but there's other fees that people don't really talk about that you will be charged by the college for attending.
All right, guys, sorry about that. I'm trying to answer some questions in the chat for you as well. Time management is an extremely important skill, and it, to be honest, is something that takes a little bit of time. Those of us who have gone to college in any capacity have experienced this ourselves. Learning how to be a college student, it takes some time and it's a transition. And I tell my students it's going to be a transition no matter if you start junior year of high school or you start when you're 25. It takes a couple of quarters to really get the study habits down and the time management and organization down. So a full course load at the college may only be 3 hours of class a day. So sometimes students are like, oh my gosh, this is great, 3 hours instead of 7 hours at the high school. But what they don't have the expectations set accurately as is that your study time outside of class, that's independent study time that you have to manage into your day, equals twice the number of credits you're taking. So if you're taking 15 credits for the quarter, we're going to double that. That's 30 hours of study time, homework time, paper writing per week. Okay, so it's a lot of time that you're putting in. And you have to be able to manage that with your sports and your social life and your family and work and all that good stuff. The college tells our Running Start students that they recommend they don't work their first quarter because it is such an adjustment to fit everything in. So they recommend that you don't work more than 15 hours or you cut back on your hours for that first 10-week period so you can really get acclimated to what it means to be a college student.
Okay, flexibility. So part of being a Running Start student is also being flexible because you're at the mercy of the school and the classes that they offer. We meet with students before each quarter to plan out what they should be taking and kind of projecting and helping out with their 2-year plan to get their high school credits done. And then the college will help you take steps to plan out your AA. But sometimes you got to notice and be mindful of when these classes are offered, right? So if I'll keep with the history example. So if a U.S. history class is offered only one period a day, once a quarter, you understand that you got to get in there, and prioritize it during registration as quickly as possible, but also be mindful of where that class is. Like Pierce has multiple campuses, and all these schools have multiple campuses, and they also have online options as well. So when you're planning for your school, you got to be flexible, and maybe you don't get into the history class that you want, that is a U.S. history requirement, and you need to adjust and maybe take your science class instead. So you got to be flexible as well as understanding where they are, and also be mindful of where you're registering, because if you've got 2 classes at Fort Silicon for Pierce, and you have 1 class at Puyallup, that could be a traffic situation that you don't want to be in. So just be flexible and be mindful of where you're going. So you might need to move things around as well as far as your 2-year plan or 1-year plan if you're a senior. And then you got to make sure you get your credits in early for high school graduation. We like to free up the AA stuff or the college requirements later on, because you only have until winter quarter of your winter quarter of your senior year to complete all of your high school academic requirements. We do this because oftentimes your senior year ends before, and graduation happens before the college will end up closing their classes. So we cannot award you a diploma if you're still taking that last science requirement in the spring of your senior year. So we like to help kids prioritize their high school requirements first, so their later classes, they can open up their opportunities to take classes that they're going to affect their college requirements or their AA, et cetera.
So some tips to be successful is go to college prepared and do not miss class. Get to know your instructors and your classmates. Like I said before, form those study groups just like you would in high school. Your instructors have office hours, so that's their time dedicated to help you. And since you're you're accelerating your education, and that's a really huge, awesome thing. Make sure that you take advantage of it and you utilize your instructors and learn all that you can and ask questions. Don't be shy to ask questions. Utilize your campus resources at the college. They have a really good tutoring center, library, student services department. So make sure that you're seeking out those resources and getting help early when you need it. Work with your college advisor to plan out your college degree. The goal of Running Start really is to graduate with both your high school diploma and your associate's degree, which is a huge accomplishment. Know your academic status at all times, and parents, make sure that you're checking in with your student about their academic status as well, so that nothing is a surprise. Make sure to follow your high school graduation plan and prioritize your high school credits. Like Mr. Simmons said, we will make a 2-year plan that's tailored specifically to the credits you need. And those credits will fit within your associate's degree, but we plan them out to make sure that you meet the deadline of high school registration. Make sure to be an advocate and develop a support system while you're there, and have fun too. And don't forget to still stay connected to Sumner High School. You need to be reading your emails. You need to be reading the remind texts. That's how the information is going to come to you. And it's going to be different, right? Because you're not in the hallways or the classrooms getting information in person like you used to, but you're still going to get the information. You just need to be reading it and looking out for it.
Okay, so we're getting into schools information, and these are obviously posted on their websites. We'll put them here for their information and for quick reference guide. Pierce contact information, they are going through a transition as far as who is the head of Pierce College contact person for Running Start for high school students. So we don't have that person on file as of yet. But this is their kind of the general who you're going to talk to at Pierce. At Pierce, their information sessions are online. They have not had those posted as of this morning, but they will probably post those soon. Usually around March is when they start pumping out a bunch of information and getting things going for that. If they don't, we don't know if they don't know. So that's going to be good to contact them and see what you can get back. But yeah, all the information is right here. Just go to pierce.ctc.edu/running start to kind of check out all, and they're all their websites are super user friendly. So any answer you need from the college, you'll get here. If you can't get it, then connect with your counselor, reach out via email, and you'll be able to get that question answered. Or if you're honest, I don't know. So that is kind of the best way to go about gathering information on your own for your own, specific questions and ways to take steps towards the timeline that we'll show you here in a little bit.
Green River College. Ooh, I don't know why it was so echoey. I'm sorry about that. Green River College. This is their information and their phone number. They aren't too far away, even though it's Auburn. It's still pretty close, and they actually have a lot bigger campus and a lot more programs, and really a lot more sections because of each class, because they are a bigger campus, and they do a really good job of communicating with our students and with us and getting our students taken care of at the college. So they're a really great option as well. Next slide will show the Green River information sessions. They are live right now. There are in-person and Zoom options available for you guys. And you can register, you need to register to attend one, but they go over their school and their requirements in the program there. And these info sessions are just, more information beyond tonight for you guys to make a decision of which school is the right one for you and your student. So we recommend that all families attend these in March when they open up, or right now if they are open. Clover Park Technical College is another popular campus that our students attend. Kevin is the Running Start advisor for Clover Park, and he is wonderful. This is his phone number, his direct phone number. And they actually hold open houses every Tuesday where you can go onto campus and actually see the programs live in action. So if you're thinking of maybe more of a hands-on trade skill program, Clover Park would be what you need to look at.
This is me. What's next? Have a conversation, go through all the options and weigh what is going to work best for you. You have a lot of different options on our table here at Sumner High School. You have the IID program. Some of you came from that happened at 6 o'clock today. You also have the traditional course load here at Sumner High School, and then you also have Running Start. Also something that we didn't cover, but we'll cover in future dates is our Pierce County Skill Center, which is also a cool program, but also follows kind of more of the traditional course load of Sumner High School. So gather together, discuss, talk, plan out what you want to do and what will work best for you. There's obviously pros and cons to every single option, but the cool thing is we do have options for you. And we can definitely advise if you have specific questions. It'd be best to decide by March 1st. Doesn't mean you have to be 100% committed March 1st, but it means you should have a good idea of what you're going to do. Registration is open on February 28th. We'll go through that during the next couple of advisories. And then in the week of the 2nd through the 4th, I believe, counselors are going around to English classes to help you lock that in if you haven't already, and kind of check each individual student's registration. How to register accurately is below. If you're full-time Running Start, you just request Running Start. There's just one option. You just request Running Start, and then you are done. You're not done with registration if you're 100% all in committed. If you're part-time Running Start, meaning you have to take Algebra 2, or very popular, taking your 2nd year of foreign language, that would be maybe you register for one of those 2 classes or both classes, and you would take the rest, and then you put Running Start as well. So maybe Spanish 2 and Algebra 2, and then Running Start. So that is how you would do it. Obviously, we're going to go around and double check all your students' class registration, but that is the next steps as far as decision process.
Okay, I want to answer a couple of questions. We've got a lot of questions about part-time Running Start. To clarify with that, part-time Running Start is really 1 class at Sumner High School and 3 classes at the college. And we only do that if it's a graduation requirement the student needs to meet, such as Algebra 2, or maybe they haven't finished their 2 years of language and they'd like to finish up their 2nd year at Sumner versus taking a new language at the college. So again, that's 1 class at the high school and then 3 classes at the college. The part-time schedule, beyond that, if you did 2 or 3 classes at Sumner and 2 classes at the college, really think hard about that, because the schedules, like we talked about, don't align. Our bell schedule isn't going to align with the class times at the college very easily. And also, the goal of Running Start is to earn your associate's degree. And when you graduate with that pretty package of a direct transfer program, your 2-year degree, to go on to a 4-year college, that works perfectly with credits in the state of Washington and also with financial aid, which is an important thing to be planning. Okay. The phone number and email for any of the colleges, you can find those on the Running Start page at the college. I think I answered somebody in the Q&A with the Pierce website. And we'll go to the chat in a minute. You do not have to have 2 foreign languages to do Running Start. You can actually just have one and then do your second year at the college, or have one and do your second year at Sumner. Okay, we'll come back to those in a minute. So here's your next steps. If you know you're going to do Running Start, you need to apply at the college now. The college prioritizes your registration based off your application date. So you'll need to apply and pay the application fee if there is one. You'll then get a welcome email from the college stating that you're able to start in the fall. Then you can take your placement testing. And we recommend that these 2 things are done by the end of February to get you the best possible date for registering at the college. Once you get your test results and your welcome email, you need to send them to your counselor. We're going to collect the names of students we need to meet with. And when we get the form from the college, the EVF form, we will start meeting with students. That's typically after spring break in April. And we'll sit down one-on-one with your student and plan out their 2-year plan. Then the students will go meet with their college advisor in April to May. And in May, towards the end of May, they'll actually register for fall quarter at the college. So that's the timeline. We do have this little checklist in the counseling office, or we can email it to any students who need it. But you can come get a printed copy, or we'll send you an email if you need one.
Yeah, so we're going to share the slides as well, so you'll have that for your records. And then this is the link to the Running Start handbook. What's going to happen is at the end, also what's requirement is a Running Start agreement form that's located on the back of this handbook. And so what you'll do is this is all the information that we talked about, probably even goes into more detail than what we said today, but it will be at the very back page of the packet of the handbook. It is a Running Start agreement form that both parent and student needs to sign in order to complete your Running Start registration before we can do the enrollment verification form, which basically serves as your tuition check, and also is the meeting that we do to plan the your 2 years or 1 year, wherever grade you're in. That is that. I know that we have a lot of questions, and so we're going to take the time to answer those. Anything that I need to add before we answer questions?
I don't think so. I'll go through the chat really quick.
Okay.
Thanks, Annette. Annette announced in the chat that Green River actually has an online introduction to their program, their information night on the 16th next week at 6 p.m. if you guys want to register for that. You can register for multiple colleges. If you're unsure which one you want to attend, you can apply, let's say, to both Pierce and Green River. You can do the testing at one college and then transfer it to the other if you need to. You won't actually attend both, you'll just register for the one you decide on, okay? But that's the good idea. If you're unsure, you can certainly apply for both. They have a common online application, so that's super easy to do. The form, you just need to send your email to the counselor asking for that checklist form, or you can come pick up a printed copy in the counseling office tomorrow or Friday. The handbook is also important for you parents to read through, like Mr. Simmons said, and we need you guys to sign that with your student and return that form to us as well. The Pierce County Skills Center is not Running Start. The Pierce County Skills Center is a different program. It's a technical high school that many school districts went in on together, and we're one of those districts. They have 1 or 2 year programs that prepare students for different jobs like construction, video game development, fire science, medical careers, just to name a few. That application will open up on March 1st. And that is a half day at Pierce County Skills Center and a half day at Sumner High School. You can contact your counselor for more information. Tacoma Community College is still an option. The one hesitation I have is their social studies curriculum does not align perfectly with ours. So it is hard to fit social studies in. Your student may need to take their US history and their contemporary world history at the high school. But that would be something, again, we'd have to talk about one-on-one. Okay, I'm gonna move over to the Q&A sheet, Mr. Simmons.
Okay, I have been answering questions that they've kind of come in as well.
Okay, thank you for doing that. So he's gonna be typing some easier answers. I'll answer some that I think are good for the group.
If you hit
One
answer,
question says, yes, the handbook is on the school website. It's on the counseling website, or you can keyword search Running Start handbook and it'll come up on the district website. The AA degree, they have direct transfer agreements from the Washington State 2-year colleges to 4-year colleges within our state. So that means that the perfect, pretty picture of a 2-year degree will transfer into a 4-year college, and then the student would only have to finish out their major related classes or their last 2 years, okay? So essentially your general education credits are done. Now that does not always apply as perfectly to out-of-state colleges, so you're gonna want to work with the out-of-state colleges you're looking at in their transfer department to make sure that your student is taking the classes that will transfer over, especially those prerequisites, okay? So that's a little bit more on the college side that you'll have to work with those college advisors on, since we don't have that. The checklist, again, just email your counselor and we'll send that to you, or you can pick up a printed copy. Yes, when you get your welcome email, that's your acceptance letter. So just email that into your counselor. That's how we know you're gonna do Running Start, okay? The latest time for registration is March, but I wouldn't wait that long. Again, especially if it's a senior heading out to Running Start for their senior year, you're not going to be treated as a senior at the college, so you need to apply early to make sure that you can get registered on time and get the classes you need for graduation. All right. Yes, we are going to be posting this video to our website. We're going to transition it into a YouTube video, so it's a little bit easier for people to watch again. So we will be posting that if you need to rewatch to get any information, or if anybody missed it that needs to watch it. That's a good question, Cassia. The question is, what if your student registers for Running Start but then changes their mind? That happens, and that's okay. We just need to know the earlier the better so that we can build a schedule for your student at the high school. So, go through the process. If it's not right for you and it's August, that's okay. We'll work with your student. We just need to know right away to get them back into a high school schedule, okay?
There's an answer live button I'm playing with. I'm going to do that. So I'm going to press it. I think it just automatically answers the question for you. But do credits from Running Start transfer if you want to attend an out-of-state college? If you get your AA, yes, your AA is a degree. That means it's your degree. You can keep it, and it doesn't matter if it transfers or not. It's a degree handed by a accredited college that you have and can take. Now it gets a little tricky if you don't get your AA and you maybe you're piecing together, some biology here, some history there, because then certain colleges will be able to have their own transfer system. And so you'll have to either connect with that school specifically that you want to go to line up which colleges, which credits will work with specific colleges that you're working with. But it gets a little dicey. A lot of the in-state ones have a transfer guide that all schools will have on hand. But as far as out of state, there is not a specific pathway to 100% transfer. So some of your stuff will transfer, but they might not recognize all as. That makes sense.
Yeah, Pierce College, Dolly, hasn't announced their dates yet for their information nights, and they typically don't until about March. So just keep watching their Running Start website. They'll post everything when they're up and running, but usually their sessions are a little bit later than Clover Park and Green River. Theirs are typically mid-March to mid-April. So just keep your eye on that website.
Should you connect with colleges to see a course plan to obtain an AA? You can look at each college's course offerings, and I believe it's, if you just look up programs, it will show you the pathway to get your AA through that. There's a number of different AAs that you can get. There's like general AA, there's you know, liberal arts AA, there's like sciences AA, there's engineering AAs. You just want to look at each college's specific class.
So what we do with you guys is we sit down and we map out the 6 quarters at the college and what classes or what credits you need to hit your high school grad requirements. Then you're going to fit those into your AA plan with your college advisor, but you take that plan we make with you to the college so that everybody knows at each school which credits you need to prioritize and when you're going to take them. And then your college advisor will help you identify those other classes that you need to take to finish up your AA. So that is part of the planning, and you do work with 2 sets of people. So that's why we have you take that plan back and forth. If you do part-time Running Start, you do not get your associate's degree. You have to take 15 credits and you have to pass 15 credits. And you have to take the classes in the right categories to get your AA. So that's where that planning comes into play.
For free. You could also maybe take extra classes in the summer that you maybe need to make up. So maybe you're taking 10 credits a quarter to make up. So, but then you need to take credits in the summer to catch up where you're supposed to be. But that's not paid for by the Running Start agreement. That's like funded by the home.
CW means Contemporary World History. That's the senior required history. Somebody shared they had one student go to TCC and one to Green River. They were both good experiences, but very different. And I would agree with that. You know, we tell our students, look at every college campus because you got to find the right fit for you. Each school is a little bit different. Each school has its strengths and weaknesses, and it's up to the student to determine kind of where they fit. If a student begins Running Start and then wants to come back to high school, that is tricky. It happens, and there's not always the perfect transition back because we're a semester system and they're a quarter system. But we have some creative ways to help a student if that happens. And that typically happens when a student isn't successful and isn't passing their Running Start classes. And we need to protect their high school graduation and bring them back to an environment they're going to be successful in. And we work with the student and the parent if that has to happen. And like I said, every situation looks different due to the timing, but we're creative and we get students back right away. Pierce County Skills Center, you're correct, Annette. Those credits are CTE and elective based primarily. You would still have to take your English, your history, your science, or your world language at the high school. And so we work with those students as well on a plan. But again, Pierce County Skills Center is not a Running Start program. It's a high school program our students have access to. Opens up March 1st, and it's a really cool program. You can still do full-time, Ryan, Algebra 1 and Geometry. You're going to do Algebra 2 with us next year, and you can still do full-time 3 classes each quarter at the college. You don't need to have any information prepared with your high school requirements before our meeting. You can certainly bring your credit check that you did in advisory last week. That would be helpful for you. But we also have a credit check of our own that we will bring to the meeting and help you prepare which credits you need. Okay, you guys, so again, your next step, if you're doing Running Start, apply at the college and get those placement tests done, okay? And then make sure you email your counselor that welcome email and your test results so we know we need to meet with you when we're able to in April. And we usually get those meetings started the 1st or 2nd week of April. And we will get those scheduled right when we get back from spring break, the 1st week of April, okay? All right, everybody, thank you so much for attending. It was great to see such a big crowd, and we're excited so many people are interested in this program. It was great to have you all on tonight. Have a good night.
Goodbye, everyone.